This guy is absolutely an incredible formulator. This guy has sold, listen to this, guys, he's sold over 10 billion, not with a million, with a B, with a billion, 10 billion in products over the last 40 years. The guy knows products. He knows how to formulate products. He knows how to do it. That's why I nicknamed him Willy Wonka. Because the movie Willy Wonka, you watch Willy Wonka, and he sits there and he creates paradise. He creates an environment that people only dream of having. And without further ado, I want to go to my good friend. Yes, that's right, my good friend, because me and this guy laugh, we joke, we're serious, we're funny, we kid. But when it's time to get down to business, when it's time to love people, when it's time to care about people, this is the guy that I want by my side. So Kevin Thomas, hit *6, come on the call, and today I want you to talk about the M.O.R.E Detox, and I got a couple questions for you at the end, but I'll tell you what, Kevin, come online, talk about the M.O.R.E Detox, and take as long as you want, because these people are ready to hear you talk. Without further ado, Kevin, join me on the call.
Can you hear me, Dave?
Yeah, now I can hear you. We got Willy Wonka. Okay, Slugworth did not ruin this call. Okay, Willy Wonka, give us a look. Talk about the black water like you did last week. It was phenomenal when you were out with those other groups, and it was crazy what you were talking about with this product. And I'm excited. I got my pen and paper ready to take some notes. Take it away, my boy, Kevin.
You can still hear me. I'm on speaker, right?
I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, great. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Saturday's call. Thanks for giving me a chance to be here. Today we're going to talk about this, if you want to call it this, black water innovation. And it really isn't just black water. It's more than just black water. It's more than just a few minerals. It's more than oxidation and antioxidant support. It's more than hydration. It's more than nutrient and oxygen delivery to the cells. It's more than just detox, and that's why we called it M.O.R.E. So M.O.R.E is an acronym. And if we want to break down our intent of this brand and the promise that we want to deliver to people, M.O.R.E, mineralization, oxygenation, rejuvenation, electrolytes, including detox. So it's a mouthful, and today it's going to be kind of like drinking from a fire hose. I'm going to give you a lot of information. And information on the technical side of these calls is much like a new song. You know, you hear the new song the first time, you like it. You hear it the second time, you start to learn it. You hear it 2, 3, 4 times, then you can start to sing the song. We don't have to be biochemists, and we don't have to be doctors, and we're not. And we don't have to get into detail. But after hearing this several times, you'll start to understand the importance of what's in the product and really what's in the product for you. As a formal disclaimer, all the statements that are made today have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to cure, treat, mitigate, diagnose any disease state. So these have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. For all medical conditions and all nutritional supplementation, please consult with your physician. Okay, so now you've seen this little 2-ounce vial, which is 60 milliliters, and it's really dark black. And you take 2 dropperfuls and you put it in 16 or more ounces of water, and you turn it into this nutrient-rich, mineral-concentrated black water. It's black like Coca-Cola, but it doesn't have any taste. It tastes like natural spring water. And so when you look at the little vial, you know, a dropperful really isn't a dropperful. And there's on the photo on the side of the bottle that teaches you how much liquid to put in your glass. So what is in it? What is this all about? So the formulation itself, we use triple filtered, triple purified, reverse osmosis, deionized, UV sterilized water that has been ozone saturated. That gives us a good platform to start. It's just not tap water or city water in our product, so we want a good pharmaceutical grade water. Then we go to the mineral content. Fulvic and humic acid are minerals. They're actually not acidic, but they're acid form. So fulvic and humic minerals, and we're going to talk about it today, these are very unique minerals. These particular minerals are plant-derived. They're plant-derived, meaning many, many years ago, when volcanic ash erupted and saturated the globe, it landed on plants. And when those plants decomposed and broke down and digested, they digested and absorbed those minerals. That becomes a shale. And now, millions and millions of years later, as more cosmic dust and everything else gets into the environment, more layers compound on top of that particular layer from millions of years ago. So if you harvest down into the soil, and we've all seen different layers like a wedding cake in the soil, you get to the humic and fulvic acids layer of plant-chelated, plant-digested minerals. So it's a lot better than using petrochemical minerals and the like. The next ingredient, also plant-derived, is activated charcoal. Now, we're not talking about Kingston briquettes that you buy from Walmart that you grind up, and not that a lot of people do those kinds of things, but we're not talking about petrochemical-based activated charcoal. Our activated charcoal comes from an extract of the coconut shell. You cut a coconut in half, you look at the shell, there's a little black line. Those are mineral concentrations that the coconut palm tree has absorbed to create the cement, the fiber, the strength of that very robust coconut, and to protect and nourish the coconut oils and milk and that which is inside the coconut. So a steam extraction method is used. We pull out those activated charcoal compounds. They're concentrated and they're added to the formula. So the next ingredient is called a carbon-60 mineral antioxidant. We're going to get in details on that. That ingredient alone could be its own company. It is super powerful, and we'll get into detail in a minute. So these are the things that make us different than other people on the marketplace, and we have 3 to 10 times the potency in each of our servings than anything else you might see in the marketplace. And our formula and our ingredients are unique from source and from type. Plant-derived fulvic and humic acid minerals are bioavailable. They're activated minerals and nutrients that can easily pass through the cell membranes and get inside your cell. What are some of the things the internet and research shows about these valuable minerals? They stimulate immune function, help reduce inflammation, promote blood cell and tissue oxygenation. You think about the importance of oxygenation. If I told you to hold your breath for 5 minutes, you're going to pass out. You're going to fail. The same thing happens at the cellular level. And if we don't have those catalysts, those chaperones, those ionically charged activated minerals that promote oxygen delivery, our cells are going to suffocate and starve, same way you would if you held your hand over your mouth for 5 minutes. So oxygen is the key to life and essential. So by promoting that blood cell and tissue oxygenation makes a dramatic difference to cellular recovery and our longevity. Here, increase energy and metabolic function, the process by which our body works. Help neutralize acidity and restore a pH balance. We're not talking about alkaline water that we forced with electrons or forced with magnets or forced with ions, that once you force water into a state it doesn't want to be, it's going to bounce right back. We're talking about alkaline-forming nutrients. An alkaline-forming nutrient is a toolbox to our plasma, to the human body, and the body will use the tools in that toolbox, minerals, to balance pH systemically the way nature intended. You cannot force the body to be acid or alkaline. You can only give it the nutrients to allow it to regulate itself. These are those nutrients. It also chelates and removes heavy metals and toxins. They're also referred to as super antioxidant. Supports cardiovascular function and blood pressure. Helps balance the endocrine system and hormone production. Supports a healthy gut and promotes electrolyte balance. Electrolyte balance is essential because just because you're drinking water doesn't mean it's getting into the cell. You've got osmotic pressure, all the other things we talk about with Prevail to help get inside the cell, Prevail Max. We want water to get inside the cell. We want water to get to the brain. We want it to get to joints and tissues. But without electrolytes, these things that are called biocatalysts, these electrically charged mineral ions, water is just going to float on top of your cells. You know, like if you wax the hood of your car and you see water on that, bead off, right? That water is beading because it cannot penetrate that fatty, waxy surface. So electrolytes is a real key. Sorry to ramble on, but it's really important. If you were to look at the side of the cell membrane, so you think about a balloon, Imagine if we cut that balloon in half. You look at the edge of that balloon. Oh, you'd see this little rubber membrane. But that's really not what the cell membrane looks like. If you cut the cell membrane in half and blew it up, and we're going to post this on the back office so you can see, there's millions and millions of little balloons all tied together in perfect rows, all in harmony, all like a series of dominoes. There's a north side, there's a south side, meaning there's an internal set of little balloons with tails on them, and there's an external set of little balloons with tails on them. All of these clusters together, that is the actual cell membrane. And you want to promote, with fulvic and humic acids, you can promote the passage of nutrients in addition to oxygen, in addition to water, inside, across these membranes into the cell, and pull waste out across the membranes. So now you've got like this little Uber, these little micro minerals. They can go inside the cell, they can grab toxins, and they can make their way outside of the cell. Why? Because they're super, super small in structural size, because they have a dynamic and great surface area, and they're capable of doing it. And that's how the body is designed by God in nature to work to remove toxins. Now let's talk about coconut-derived activated charcoal. This is a powerful toxin-absorbing substance, really designed to clean house. Get an idea how strong this is. 1 teaspoon of activated charcoal has more surface area than a football field. So imagine a basketball. If you cut the basketball open and laid it out like a map of the country, the surface area is much greater laid out flat than it is in the ball structure. And so if you have millions and millions of tiny basketballs that have this surface area, you've got millions of tiny surface areas that can be exposed to the billions of cells in the human body to do its function. Activated charcoal can interact with and absorb a range of toxins, drugs, viruses, bacteria, fungus, and chemicals, not only found in water, but also found in our body. So it's steam extracted from carbon-rich coconut cells. So here's an example of where activated charcoal is used in medicine today. The emergency rooms across the country use it in the treatment of overdose or poisoning. It's the first thing they do once they discover a person is overdosed or poisoned. Let's get that out of their body. It's an emergency room treatment program, and they can do it with capsules, they can do it with injections, they can do it with stomach pumping. So that's a real important thing. They know how powerful its antitoxin capability is, and so it's used there. So why aren't we using it daily in smaller amounts to keep us from the poisons of environmental contaminations, the poisons of processed foods, chemicals, and all the things that we're exposed to? Why do we have to wait until we get to, quote, overdose toxicity in our life, which is the aging process, which is the interruption of our potential longevity? Let's start detoxifying and getting rid of that junk in our body now. Activated charcoal may assist in kidney function by filtering out undigested toxins and drugs. It seems to be especially efficient at removing toxins derived from urea. Urea is a byproduct of protein digestion. Studies show that it helps kidney function and repair gastrointestinal damage. So a really powerful nutrient in itself. The next thing is the carbon-60 mineral antioxidant. This is my favorite. From a scientific standpoint, it is just so incredible and unique. It's referred to by the scientists as the magic carbon molecule. So let's take a talk for a minute about carbon. We are carbon-based. Our planet is carbon-based. You've heard from our church, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. What does that mean? If we look at a person that has been cremated, there's a couple pounds of carbon. So that human, that's all that's left is the carbon, the things that are in the M.O.R.E product. Where do we get that from? We get our minerals from our foods. It's the only way things are getting into the body. Nobody's injecting dirt. So where in our foods does it come from? Well, these plants that we eat in our vegetable processes will suck up some minerals and give us a mineral baseline. Is the baseline enough to be curative in our diet? That's a nutritional deficiency if it's not. This product is designed to support that nutritional deficiency, to increase the baseline of these minerals. We're all peeling our potatoes, our baked potatoes. But if we left that skin on there, all of those minerals are loaded on the baked potato, on the carrot, on the beet, on the rooted vegetables, on the greens and cruciferous vegetables. We're cleaning it off. We're removing it in the process. We limit our access. Plus, with over-farming, we've demineralized our our farms, our sources, and so our farms don't have the ability to supply over 80 key metabolic catalysts, these over 80 mineral nutrients that are designed to replenish, nourish, and supplement our diet. So we have to get it from alternative sources. This carbon-60 molecule is said by scientists to be the most amazing chemistry discovery in the late 20th century. If you want to ever look it up, it's really fun. You can do carbon-60. It's also called a buckyball. It comes from the word Buckminster fullerene. It's also called fullerene. Carbon-60 is a carbon molecule with exactly 60 carbon atoms. It's like a carbon cage. Technically, it's a tunicated isohedron, a cosohedron. So it's just this really cool ball, like a cage. The nice thing is that molecule can dome off these electrons to be an antioxidant, can supply electrons to areas of the body that are deficient, and it can also take positively charged or oppositely charged toxins that are in our body and magnetically suck them into these cages to be removed. It was discovered only in 1985 by three gentlemen, and really some neat scientific research. So because of the molecular size, it passes the blood-brain barrier. Now we have a content that can get into the brain and help detoxify the brain. And everybody knows about heavy metal contamination and the potential issues it can cause in brain saturation. It protects the cells from oxidative stress. That's the aging process, like rusting. Several studies provide that carbon-60 helps prevent mitochondrial dysfunction. That's the energy powerhouse inside the cell. Inside the cell, we have ATP and the mitochondrial. This is the thing that utilizes protein, converts sugars to energy, and makes our cells stay alive. So if we can prevent a dysfunction there, we keep our little cellular factories alive, and that's going to promote longevity. So it's a real key nutrient. Nobody else in nutrition and in direct selling has this in this form and has included this in this delivery system. This is very unique. This is a Valentis exclusive relationship with us. You know, they did double-blind placebo studies in universities. When they did these studies, I'm going to try and make this quick, but when they did these studies, the government wanted the people who were using this carbon-60 molecule to track radiation, so they were able to put radiation into a human being, but they didn't know where it went. So they discovered that this buckyball, this carbon-60 molecule, would attach to radiation. And therefore, I could see this carbon with my X-ray machines, and I could see exactly where the radiation went in the patient. I could also see the radiation going out of the patient, because the carbon-60 molecule became a taxi cab to get those radioactive particles not only into a location but out of the location. So that's a neat story as radiation exposure potential exists. But the government said before you can start using this mineral, you have to do a double-blind study. An LD50, what's the lethal dose to kill 50% of the rats? You just keep dosing and dosing until they die. You can find out, can I take a milligram? Can I take 500 milligrams? Can I take a gram? You got to figure that out and see how it's toxic. The neat thing about multiple university studies, not only did the rats not die, did they not die from toxicity of the mineral, they did not die of susceptible disease states that they are genetically engineered to achieve. Not only did that happen, they had a problem, and the study cost them a lot more money because the rats lived twice as long. So you'll look up carbon-60, you'll see that really expanded life expectancy due to its antioxidant potential and its detoxification potential. Really, really cool ingredient. So the whole M.O.R.E detox, including the carbon-60, this helps to prevent nerve cell death, which is cognitive decline in the brain, and neurodegenerative symptoms that are associated with these dying nerves, these synaptic nerves that make everything happen, our motor movement, our mood, our cognitive functions. So we want to help prevent that through an oxidative or antioxidant reaction. It supports the control of inflammation and potentially arthritic conditions. Remember, arthritis is a disease. We're not talking about curing or mitigating a disease, but if an inflammatory control support mechanism through antioxidant and mineral therapy it can be administered, it can promote the body's natural ability to get inflammation regularity under control. Helps to prevent ultraviolet damage from the sun. All of us know if we get too much unfiltered UV rays, we can have a deleterious effect to our tissues, and it works with inside the body. Studies have shown that it kills viruses and bacteria. This is specifically on the carbon-60 molecule. Supports healthy metabolism and prevents cells from turning into fat cells. That alone is fun enough, because I don't want to take all the foods that I eat and constantly turn them into fat cells if I'm not using them for energy. It's a super antioxidant. It is 172 times stronger in the antioxidant value than vitamin C when it binds with the hydrogen molecules. So now we're talking about hydrogen. You've heard of pH. pH means potential hydrogen within the body. It's a numeric scale that we use to specify the acidity or alkalinity of a solution. And our blood needs to be basic. So you got 0, which is really, really acid, 14, really, really alkaline. The middle is 7. The body is slightly neutral, or about 7.34. We want to promote the body's ability to stay there. It already stays there by design, but it has to have tools to do it. You can't drink alkaline water and force it. You need alkaline-forming nutrients to empower the tool to balance itself, to empower the cells, right? So a high acidity level can have a negative effect on all systems in the body, particularly digestive, intestinal, circulatory, respiratory, and immune systems, because your body's going to buffer or pull these minerals from essential organs to try and balance itself. Because if I'm not taking extra minerals and I'm not getting it on my baked potatoes, where am I going to get it? The body's going to steal it. Bones, tissues, organs, hair, skin, teeth. It's going to steal those to balance pH so it can stay close to neutral, right? That's 7 to 7.34. I don't want the body stealing it from all those areas, because that's going to mean decline in those areas. pH, what's going to make your pH change? Why do I got to fix it in the first place? So stress. When we have stress, and stress is multiple categories: dietary stress, emotional stress, chemical exposure, other dysfunctions that happen in our environment, many types of stresses. This increases the production of acidic toxins in the body. Dietary imbalances, the lack of fruits, vegetables, and the fact that we eat refined foods that have been stripped of their nutrients, and too much saturated fats in meat, soft drinks, medications. These are dietary imbalances that causes an acidic lifestyle. Poor elimination of toxins. When our kidneys, our liver, our colon, our lungs, and skin that usually help eliminate waste matter from the body, when that becomes deficient and not effective, we're going to elevate our acidic potential. We're going to lose our pH balance potential, and if we don't supplement, our body's going to go back to breaking down teeth, bone, and skins. Insufficient oxygenation. We're not breathing deep. We don't have cardiovascular activity. We're not taking nutrients that increase the amount of water in our body, H2O. O is oxygen. The more proper water with proper electrolytes that contain those oxygen molecules, that get into our bloodstream is another form of oxygen in addition to breathing. And when we have insufficient oxygen, we're not breathing deep, we're not exercising, we're not cardio in our lifestyle, we are starving ourselves, causing an acidic reaction. And then an imbalanced intestinal pH, nothing but acid-forming foods, sodas, pizza sauces, and all that stuff. So what are the kind of symptoms that you're going to feel? Brittle bones, muscle atrophy, fatigue, bad breath, poor digestion, imbalanced gut purification, dark urine with a strong odor, muscle pain, joint pain, skin problems, excessive perspiration, cramps, fungal infections, migraines, low metabolism. These are the things that happen when we're stressed, when we're in an acidic environment. You take these drops, you put them in a glass of water, and most of these spring bottled waters that you could buy, or even your home filtered water, you're going to be in that 6.5 pH range when you take the water to start. And depending on the strength of the pH of that water, you put some more drop into that. You put 2 droppersfuls into that water. That pH is going to jump from 8 in the area of 8.5 to 10.5, depending on the water you start with. So it's really high alkaline, but it's not so much that the water itself that you're drinking is alkaline. It's alkaline because it has alkaline-forming nutrients. So those nutrients are going to stay there. If I just drink alkaline water where some electrical devices charged the hydrogen ions and made it a high pH, as soon as that water with no minerals hits my gut's going to produce stomach acid. And now that alkaline water I just drank is going to be acidified by the gut, and the whole pH alkaline water story is gone because the little duodenum, the little valve in the bottom of my stomach, isn't going to even open until it gets down to an acidic pH. Now the body can do that to our more water to lower that acidity, or, the pH, to allow it to get into the gut, but in the gut then is all these pH activating support minerals. Big difference, delivered to where you need it. So it's vegan, it's gluten-free, there are no artificial colors, no artificial flavors, no sweeteners. It is tasteless, it is odorless. I wouldn't recommend getting these drops. You can have fun and put them on your fingers just to see how much it absorbs into your skin, and you can see the stain that it makes, and it'll wash off. And you might have to use Dawn dishwashing liquid, but it's a fun thing to do just to watch how saturated it gets, how it gets beyond the oils and the fats. It gets into your fingers, which means you also don't want to spill it on your clothing, and you want to be careful. So you shake the bottle very well, 2 dropperfuls, and a dropperful is about half. You can look at the little, sometimes they have meters on them, a little bit more than half of a dropper. The actual dropper itself is 1 ml, is considered a dropperful. There's a little confusion around there. So theoretically, if you have a half a dropper, that's 1 ml. 2 of those half droppers into your water is your daily supply. Shake every time you use it. You never consume it directly, undiluted, from the bottle. This is a concentrate. You don't want to stain your tongue or your teeth or any of that, but you don't want to have that much alkalinity because it's really alkaline in the body. Dilute it with the water. Put it in your teas. You can put it in your cooking process. You can use it anywhere you use water. And then you should refrigerate it after opening because it's multi-serve. We have to say that legally. I keep mine with me all the time. And so basically, I know you guys drank from a fire hose today, and it was a lot of information. But now in summary, more mineralization, oxygenation, rejuvenation, electrolytes, and detox. It's the reason you would take this product, and what's in it for you is more important than what's in it. But I really appreciate being on the call today, Dave. I know it was a lot to take in. I took up 30 minutes of everybody's time. Thank you for your valuable Saturday.